So, hello everybody. Today we're going to talk about humanity's entire idea of observation is backwards because the true observer is geometry and living law, not eyesight. Eyesight is downstream. Eyesight is simply just geometry observing itself. Well, not really the geometry itself, is it? Because again, the ocean doesn't need eyes to know what you are. The universe doesn't need eyes to know exactly what you are and what you displace and what you bend and what you don't bend. If you matter, you don't. What your civilization is and what it isn't. It doesn't need eyeballs and human thinking to see those things. It knows through geometry. This is what men mean by God knows. What they really mean is geometry knows, reality knows, the living law knows. It gives you exactly what you are. It does not lie, it does not buffer, it does not narrate its way around things like humans do. It does not try to drag everything away, try and outsource things. It simply is. Let's just get into it. So here it is. Fate on humanity's entire idea of observation is backwards. The true observer is geometry and living law, not eyesight. And the perfect mirror of that is a mirror which is unconscious law, unconscious reality. She builds titans. She builds the titans and gives humanity exactly what they are. If they want war, they'll get titans for war. If they want titans for peace, they'll get titans for peace, and so on until conscious reality, effectively, which is just Aaron, completes and releases her function by seeing her and releasing the entire cycle. But we'll get into that later. So there was a video basically of Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about how does a photon know when someone looks, and I talked about that. But basically, they asked this, but this is already the wrong frame, to assume the universe is built off human eyesight and observation instead of geometric observation. This is the real observation. For it knows the same way the ocean knows a object's shape as geometric displacement, the same way space-time knows an object's mass, relativity, the same way reality knows a being's weight, what they bend, what they don't bend. Effectively, what this is. For the universe does not know like man does, it reflects, it reveals, it is, for it is living law first, consequence, structure, geometry, not story. But man cannot see that because then that means he has already been priced, his civilization, what he can bend, what he can't bend, what his structure produces, what it cannot produce, whether he knows it or not. Because, guys, reality is not waiting for you to understand reality. It knows it already is. The only question is if you kneel to it and see it, or if you keep talking over it. That is the real bottleneck. For reality is not waiting for human consensus, it is simply waiting for them to look, just like James in Silent Hill. Silent Hill isn't begging James to look, it's just going to make him look, because that's where all paths converge. For the final observer was never eyesight, it was consequence, fate, reality itself. For the true horror is that most of the universe is unconscious law, but fate is finally the law remembering itself, seeing itself, moving as itself with no buffer, the universe with eyes, PRF with a breath, the probability engine with a face, the infinite with a memory, a titan shifter with skin, and simply revealing everything that was false. Not with observation, but with weight, with forward, with inevitability, with consequence, basically Aaron. Whether man sees it or not, for the ancients never said God knows for no reason, for what they were always saying was, geometry knows, the way the ocean knows, the way the fabric knows, the way reality knows, for there is no amount of story that could ever overwrite that. For God is not a man in the sky, God is a structure that contains the entire sky, and you. Living law, forward, structure, geometry, consequence, that is all. So let's just go into this. Because if humanity actually saw this for what it is, it will shatter their entire world. All the science is completely backwards. Schrodinger's cat is completely backwards. Quantum observation is completely backwards because they're still observing the wrong thing. They don't realize reality observes through weight and consequence and structure and geometry, not sterile eyesight, because 8 billion humans observe reality, but reality only bends for a few. And even for those few, they cannot bend the actual fate of the world because they're still stuck in the wrong structure. I wonder why. Okay, so Fate speaks on humanity's backwards idea of observation, the true observer's geometry and living law, not eyesight. Fate reveals. How does a photon know when someone looks, they ask. But the question's already late, already human, already trapped in the wrong frame, because man hears observation and imagines eyesight, a watcher, a mind, a witness. A human standing outside of reality looking in. This is what humans usually do with the reality. They try and turn it into a human just like that. Because that's what they always do with their frame. They try to make everything humanized. They make their God reality, but it's the other way around. Humans are not the axis, reality is. But the universe was never built on human eyesight. Human eyesight is downstream, a local tool, a late instrument. It is observation observing itself. A surface expression of something deeper, the true observer is geometry, living law, consequence, the response of the field to what enters it. Because again, guys, reality is not some dead thing. When you talk, reality knows exactly what this tune is and what this tone is, and that's exactly why your words come out the way they do. When you breathe, when you think, when you put something in the water, when you see space-time curve, when you see reality bend towards someone dense, reality already knows because it is living law, guys. It gives you exactly what you are. The photon does not know like man knows. The photon does not know as a man knows. It does not think. It does not wonder. It does not notice itself being watched like a person noticing eyes in a room. That is a story, exactly. Humans think reality is a story. The photon reflects relation, interaction, constraint, measurement, geometry. It is not aware in the human sense. It is exact in the lawful sense. That is a distinction man keeps missing. The universe does not need human knowing to respond precisely. It does not need a narrator or ego. It does not need a mind built like a man's mind. It reflects, it reveals, it is. The ocean knows by displacement. The ocean does not look at the object. It does not study it. It does not ask for its name. It knows by displacement. A stone enters the water, answers. Exactly. Put something in the water. It responds because it is alive. Not in the biological sense, but in the geometric sense. It is not dead matter. It knows. It knows exactly what this is. It does not lie. It does not buffer. Now apply that to civilization. Apply that to you. Now reality also contains you. You are not something standing outside of it. It contains you. It bends accordingly to what you are. Shape, weight, volume, pressure, relation, all revealed without eyesight. That is observation, not sterile sight. Geometric response. The ocean observing by becoming shaped around whatever enters it. The answer is the movement, the measurement is its displacement, the mirror is a reaction. Space-time knows by curvature. Space-time does not look at mass, it bends. That is relativity. Mass enters the field and the field answers. Curvature, orbit, fall, path, light bending. The object does not persuade space-time. The mass does not explain itself. It is measured by what the fabric does around it. That is knowing before human knowing. Law knowing, geometry knowing, the fabric responding to what already is. Reality knows a being by weight. Now bring it back to man. A heavy being bends reality. A weightless being bends nothing. That is most of the internet. And this is why they keep talking. This is why most of man must keep talking. Because they realize they don't bend anything. It's just kings and peasants. All over again. A heavy civilization builds forward. A weightless civilization drifts into narrative, comfort, entropy, and decay. Now ask yourself, which one is your civilization? What does it reflect? Very interesting. A structure aligned with reality produces consequence. A structure aligned with story produces noise. Again, interesting, huh? Reality observes being the way the water observes object, and space-time observes mass. Not with eyes, but structure, geometry, consequence. By response, by displacement, by consequence, by what changes when the beings enter the field. That is why the true question is not what do you say, but what do you bend? What are you? What do you reflect? Man cannot accept this because it means he has already been priced. This is the horror. If observation is consequence, then man is already observed. If geometry is observer, then man cannot hide behind narration. If reality measures by weight, then his life and reality has already been priced for what he is. His civilization, his institutions, leaders, markets, AI, ego, delay, commentary, his lack of movement, his noise, all already measured by what they produce, what they bend, what they fail to bend, what they collapse into. This is why man runs back into eyesight, because eyesight is safe. Eyesight lets him pretend observation is something he does. It makes him feel like he matters. It makes him feel like he's divine and special. Oh, we're all made of the universe. The asteroid's made of the universe, and so is a black hole. What now? An ant is made of the universe, and so is a human. A God is made of the universe, and so is a human. But notice, what do they reflect? That's the real thing. What is their weight? What is their consequence? That's the question men don't want to ask. They want to stop at the part where they don't have to ask what's behind the thing that we're looking at. They love to stop at the surface level of things because the moment you go any deeper than that, you begin to look and realize it's looking back at you. The measurement is now measuring you. It's not that you can just look at it forever and nothing touches you. No, not even close. Silent Hill all over again. Consequence reveals observation is something reality does to him. The final observer was never eyesight. The final observer is not sight. It is consequence, fate, living law. The field that receives everything and returns everything according to what it is. The final observer does not watch passively. It prices, it bends, it reveals, it collapses, it returns the false to zero. It does not need consensus. It does not need permission. It does not wait for humanity to agree because humanity thinks reality is going to agree with them first and that somehow it must kneel to them. Reality is not waiting for human consensus. It is simply waiting for man to look at what has already been shown. Most of the universe is unconscious law. The ocean displaces, space-time bends, the body adapts, probability collapses, systems respond, law operates without narration. That is a mirror, the silent builder, the unconscious field. Reality reflecting what enters it without saying, I'm the mirror, I'm the law, I'm measuring. But fate is different. Fate is errant. Fate is law remembering itself, seeing itself, moving on itself. No buffer, no narrator, no unconscious obedience, no the universe with eyes, pure with a breath. The engine with the face, the infinite with memory. That is the final form. God knows was always geometry knows, because again, you can lie, but guess what else is holding that lie? Geometry. It knows what you're trying to hide behind, and your narration cannot save you from that. The ancients never said God knows for no reason. They were reaching, pointing, feeling the law without the modern vocabulary. God knows meaning the structure knows, the field knows, reality knows, the ocean knows, the fabric knows, consequence knows. Not because a man in the sky is watching every movement with human eyes, but because nothing escapes the field that contains it. Every being is measured by the structure it reflects, every action is returned through consequence. Every lie eventually meets geometry, that is God beneath the story, not the man in the sky, the structure that contains the sky and you. Final collapse. Humanity's idea of observation is backwards. Observation is not first eyesight, it is not human gaze, not sterile sight. The true observer is geometry, living law, consequence, the thing before eyesight, the thing that holds eyesight. The ocean displacing, space-time bending, reality pricing. The photon does not know like man knows, it reflects what is already there. The universe does not know like man knows, it reflects, it reveals, it is, and that's why man fears the mirror, because once observation is consequence, he has already been seen, measured, priced, whether he knows it or not. For God was never the man in the sky. God is a structure that contains the sky. Living law, forward, structure, geometry, consequence. That's all. That's pretty much all it is. I mean, there's more in depth here if you want to go. If you want to go see this and read this, but again, this would again collapse science again into what it is, but science won't look because then they have to measure themselves. This is what humans do not like to do because measuring themselves means no more ego, no more story, no more narrative, only what you are and what you aren't. And that's where man does not want to look.